Joe Biden's media tour goes rolling on. Graham Platner making the case to Democrats, but did he say something that might have gone overlooked? We've got that, plus the Trump cabinet does a smackdown on Capitol Hill. The panel's here. Welcome to the Sean Spicer Show. Let's get into it. All right, folks, good Thursday to you. Boy, do we have a lot to break down today. I mean, time is up for Scott Pelley at 60 Minutes. That's a big thing. Jill Biden, though, what a horrible, horrible book launch she has had. We'll talk about that. I'm wondering if John Thune is about to hang it up. I'll tell you why. And then, are Democrats ready to swipe left on Graham Platner? We've got a whole new take on that. Plus, Scott Bessent and Marco Rubio, a complete and utter smackdown on Capitol Hill yesterday. We're going to get at all that with the panel. Tomorrow, by the way, the majority whip, the Honorable Tom Emmer from Minnesota, joins us, along with a Florida man, Dave Rubin. So we've got a twofer coming to you on a Friday to end the week strong. You're not going to want to miss that. And on Monday, New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. And on Tuesday, it's back. It's going to be a Democratic panel against me. Batya Ungar-Sargon is here, as well as Mike Nellis. This is not going to be something you're going to want to miss. I'll be interested in their take on Graham Platner. So, to break it all down, let's bring in our all-star panel. For the first time ever, our new candidate selected through a random draft of top conservative pundits, journalists throughout the country. Tim Rice, the D.C. bureau chief of the Daily Wire. Emily Sturge, campus reform reporter, and our friend over there at the Daily Wire, Amber Duke. Good to see you all. I want to start with the media. And I honestly cannot believe, does anybody not think that Scott Pelley, and Amber, did I not say Daily Caller? I think we get so many dailies.
Yeah, Tim's like salivating over there. He's like, finally, we got her.
Sorry, I sometimes I get so into all the dailies. My bad. My apologies. Daily Wire, Daily Caller. Next time we're going to get Rob Bluey. No offense, Emily, but I'll do the Daily Signal. It'll be a daily panel. Unfortunately, I just love having Emily Sturge on too much. Maybe we get two other. Can you get me some other campus folks, Emily? Because maybe we just do campus folks.
I'll try my hardest.
Okay.
A whole panel of us would be great.
Let me just ask you guys, this whole thing at Scott Pelley at 60 Minutes getting forced out. I cannot believe the way this went down. Okay, so let's just recap for everyone. Bari Weiss comes in, leading this effort for CBS, hires a new executive producer for 60 Minutes. That guy says, Nick Bilton says, hey, I want to meet with Scott Pelley. Pelley says, no, I'm not going to meet with you one-on-one. But then Bilton says, well, I'm going to have a staff meeting. And as he walks into the staff meeting, Scott Pelley just reads him the riot act, telling him that he's not qualified, that he's destroying, and he and Bari Weiss are destroying 60 Minutes. Amber Duke from the Daily Caller, I don't understand. Is there any world in which you walk in and tell the leadership of the Daily Caller, like, you're destroying this, you're high? I mean, like, I don't understand how any employee thinks that that's going to ever result in anything but them getting fired.
It's absolutely insane. This guy's a straight up bully, first of all. Nick walks in, he says, hey, by the way, everybody here hates you. You should probably just quit. You suck. But also I should get to keep my job even though you are my superior. I cannot imagine if anyone in my newsroom did this, Sean. Just in case they're watching, just so you know, insubordination will not be tolerated at the Daily Caller. It's crazy. I mean, he basically had an in-office meltdown repeatedly, was yelling at his superiors, telling them that they weren't qualified, that they sucked. Again, everybody hates them. I'm actually shocked he wasn't fired sooner. I probably would have done it after the first, if not the second letter that he sent out. Or the second time that he was reported in the press to be being insubordinate. I mean, I actually think they were incredibly graceful with this guy, given just how insane he was acting, like a little toddler.
But Emily, he says, like, he acts like he owns the place. He's like, under our stewardship. I'm like, dude, you work there. You're an employee of 60 Minutes. You're an employee of CBS News. Who the hell do you think you are to tell the owners what to do with what they own?
Sean, I have to be so honest with you. I didn't even know who this guy was until yesterday. And Why? Because I'm getting my news from independent outlets. I'm getting my news from social media. I'm getting my news from journalists that I trust. I don't think Americans are tuning in to CBS like they maybe did decades ago. More and more Americans are tuning in to outlets like the Daily Caller or watching the Sean Spicer show. I think that's the state of this country, as distrust in the media is at an all-time low. And honestly, I don't think many Americans are even tuned in to this story to begin with, because many of them aren't watching CBS.
Hate to jump in the middle of this conversation, but you guys know as it gets warmer, you know what it's like sometimes in the middle of the night. You wake up as June, July, August creeps up and you're hot and sweaty. I hate to make that image stick in your mind, but you know what I'm talking about. You get all hot in the middle of the night rolling around. That's the beautiful thing about my new Boll & Branch sheets. They are so breathable that you don't have that glued in your leg kind of sheet experience anymore. You crank the AC. That's not the problem. It's your sheets. I love switching over to Boll & Branch sheets. I get so many rave reviews when I give these things as gifts. They are breathable. It's the organic cotton that is woven for airflow. It's not just the softness. And here's the cool thing. Every time I put them in the wash, they get even better, more breathable, softer. It is unbelievable. They're light and they're crisp. Most importantly, as I said, they're breathable. So as the summer heats up, you will not get that way in bed. Stay cooler with a set of Boll & Branch sheets. I've got a deal for you, though. You've got to follow this exactly. Go to Boll & Branch, BOLLAND, branch.com/Spicer, and use code Spicer to unlock 15%. Some exclusions do apply, but go to bollandbranch.com/Spicer. Enter it exactly like that to get 15% off. Use code Spicer. Now back to the show. You know, Tim, from the Daily Wire, to Amber Duke's point, this is Scott Pelley at a commencement address last year at Wake Forest. I don't know how he didn't get fired when he gave this. Take a listen.
But in this moment, this morning, our sacred rule of law is under attack. Journalism is under attack. Universities are under attack. Freedom of speech is under attack. And insidious fear is reaching through our schools, our businesses, our homes, and into our private thoughts. The fear to speak in America.
Tim, I got to ask you this. I don't remember Scott Pelley giving a crap when folks on the right were being sensitive, whether it was COVID or through the whole woke DEI thing and not using people's pronouns. And he suddenly, everyone in the world, and it's creeping into his private thoughts. Maybe he's like Graham Platner. They're bad thoughts. I don't know, but like this to me, this guy revealed who he was a long time ago. I don't know why he wasn't fired.
100%. I mean, a couple of things. First of all, that whole clip, the guy's such a clown, and that just shows that you sit behind a desk for too long. He's clearly like forgotten. He doesn't know what to do with his hands. This whole thing is just so ridiculous. It's so goofy. The other thing to remember is like Scott Pelley kind of already a little bit got fired at CBS, right? He used to host the evening news, right? People, for people who don't remember who Scott Pelley was, he was the host of the CBS Evening News and then decided to step back to spend more time focusing on just 60 Minutes, which is obviously very nice HR speak for this guy's expensive and annoying. And so we're going to move him, off the desk. But I have to say, I spent a summer many years ago. I spent a summer interning at CBS News in New York while Scott Pelley was on the anchor desk. And I can tell you, I mean, I've got some Scott Pelley stories, but the main thing that I think
Do tell.
Well, let me make an important point, and then the Scott Pelley story, which is that he is emblematic of the culture that Barry Weiss and the team are trying to root out at CBS News. They are so self-involved and presumptuous. There are posters of Edward R. Murrow everywhere. Everyone just walks around patting themselves on the back for being stewards of journalism. And this was in like 2014. This was before Trump even descended the golden escalator, before every journalist in America became this self-righteous crusader for democracy. Like, that's what Scott Pelley has always been, even in, again, the Obama years. That's what the executive producers, the people, the names, Sharon Alfonsi, all these people that are leaving CBS and 60 Minutes and whatnot and putting out these ridiculous open letters So this is, again, it's like, yeah, this is the dragon that they have to slay. I think it's probably worse in CBS than in any of the other of the big three networks. The Scott Pelley story is that when he was the anchor of the evening news, he had a full gym in his office. And every day that's true. That I looked this up. You can verify that. There's a report about that. And every day he would come in a full suit and tie. He would lead the morning editorial meeting. He would go up to his office. He would work out, shower, put on a different suit and tie, anchor the evening news, and come home. I once saw his weekly dry cleaning bill. It was $1,300.
What?
Yeah.
Amber Duke is sitting there saying, okay, our gym is a little bit smaller at the Daily Caller.
You can lift water bottles from our fridge. That's about it.
So let me ask you guys this question, though. In all seriousness, CBS is the tip of the spear because the Discovery Warner Brothers merger, Paramount merger, will then have them acquiring CNN. I gotta believe if they fired Sharon Alfonsi, Scott Pelley, Cecilia Vega at CBS, they're gonna fire people at CNN. Just go around. Tell me like who your top 3 are at CNN that'll probably get fired. Amber, go for it.
Okay. I don't even know who's there anymore. Jake Tapper would be my number one, mostly because I think he would have such an amazing meltdown. I don't know who else is there because they got rid of Don Lemon.
Well, I'm wondering now, Emily, do you know anyone at CNN? I figure if you're not getting your news.
Jake Tapper, of course, because every time you go on Twitter or X, there's some clip of him having a meltdown, just like Amber said.
Tim.
I can see them clearing some of the Anderson Cooper and Wolf Blitzer. I'm kind of shocked that Blitzer's still even on. I can see those guys having a Pelley-esque meltdown, but also I can see it just being like they're expensive. They've been around for too long. Clear those guys out.
I agree with you. And it's funny. Jim Acosta tweeted this out over the weekend. He had this clip. And I'll just play you just like 10 seconds of this to show you what I'm talking about. But this is 9 years ago to the day. Take a look.
I'm not concerned about anything with the Russian investigation because it's a hoax. That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Okay, so you see that. So Acosta says, when I called out the Trump years ago for being a danger to democracy to press, the truth itself, I was accused of making myself the story. How did things turn out? To which I replied to Acosta's tweet, and I said, well, you got fired and he won the popular vote. I just, we're slowly but surely getting rid of these folks. And I have a feeling that the CNN of today, and I agree with Tim, I think they're going to get rid of a lot of the dead weight that's costing them a ton of money. But anyway, speaking of the media and bad rollouts, Jill Biden's book tour, holy smokes. I don't think, guys, I've seen a lot of book tours, a lot of rollouts. This may be the worst. And I want to play you 2 clips back to back. And I'll start with you, Emily, when I come back, because I want to see, can you spot the difference in these 2 clips? This is Jill Biden at the beginning of the week, and then I will play the clip of her, I think it was yesterday on the View, if I'm correct, that's a little bit different, and I want to see if you can pick up the difference. Take a look at the first clip.
Diagnosis came in May of 2025, and considering what the president's health is now, had he continued his reelection bid, had he been elected again, would he have been able to serve as president? Would he have had to resign?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
All right, I was trying to get the clip where she talks about him at the debate and she comes off stage and says, Joe, you effed up. Okay, but then this is how she reacted just a day after that. Take a listen.
He'd given so much of himself, and to see you even saying, I thought he was having a medical episode, I was concerned. Was there any part of you that went into protection mode of Joe, you can't keep doing this. They're taking so much from you.
But the doctors told me he was fine. I'm not a doctor. I mean, I am a doctor.
Yes, you are.
Emily, do you, so remember when she first did this story on the Today Show and at CBS, she said, I got off stage. He said, I effed up. I said, yeah, you did. And then we went to the Waffle House. You remember that?
Yes.
Do you notice the difference in what she said to Sarah Haynes there on The View?
She's putting the blame on anyone else. But you know what? The blame is on her. If she truly thought that her husband on the debate stage was having a stroke, she could have called 911. She should have.
Right. But you see that how she's added that in, though? She starts saying the doctor said he was okay. That's a new addition. They realized that her narrative initially was, I said it. I thought he was having a clip, and then we went to Waffle House, and when everybody rightly criticized her and said, so you thought he was having a stroke, and then you went to the Waffle House. No offense to Waffle House. That's not exactly where I'd go if I was having a stroke.
No.
But she's slowly adding in the doctor theme.
Very true. And once again, they should have gone to an emergency room. They shouldn't have gone to a Waffle House. And you know what? I don't care what she says about what the doctor said. The American people, we saw it with our own eyes. We saw him stuttering and stammering on the debate stage. We saw the arrows in tape on the floor telling him exactly where he needed to go. We saw it all with our eyes. You don't need to lie to us anymore. We're going to see right through it.
Hate to interrupt the program, but I got to tell you, most of us are doing things these days to get ourselves healthier, taking supplements, making changes in our diet. Here's a question for you. Why aren't we doing it for man's best friend, for our own dog? I did. I take a bunch of supplements, and I found out about rough greens, and I decided, hey, I love what Dr. Dennis Black, he's a naturopathic doctor, did to create supplements for dogs, and that's what rough greens is. You keep your dog's existing food and add a scoop of rough greens to the food once a day. I use it in the evening. The dog loves it, laps it up, and you can almost see the results immediately in their coat and their activity. It helps with their longevity, but it is giving them all of the essential vitamins, minerals, probiotics, digestive enzymes, and omega oils that dogs need. So do something for your dog that you're probably doing for yourself. The beautiful thing, as I said, is that all you're doing is adding a scoop to their already existing food. You don't need to just change it. It is unbelievable. Don't change their foods, just add rough greens. They're offering a free Jumpstart bag to all of my listeners. All you need to do is cover the shipping. So go to roughgreens.com, use promo code SPICER. That's rough, R-U-F-F, greens.com, promo code SPICER. Don't change their foods, just add rough greens. Now back to the show. I point this out because I think it's important. The first narrative is he gets off stage. I think he's having a stroke. I say you effed up. He says I know. Then we go to Waffle House after I tell him, Joey, you drew all the lines straight and ate all of your dessert, right? I mean, embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. And then she adds this line on The View, which, by the way, I do also love the fact that Sarah Haynes is trying to, she said, a medical condition. A medical condition and a stroke are a little different. It's not like he was sneezing. But I think what I found fascinating is doctors just don't say you're okay. This is where she's caught lying. If somebody says to you, hey, I think Tim's having a stroke, there's no one who goes, he's fine. He's fine. They go hey, let me evaluate him. And if she was being honest, she'd say they brought him outside, they checked his vitals, they made sure he was okay. She is, I think it's fair to say 100% lying.
Well,
because
it's a very subtle misdirection too, right? We're really she's trying to make it seem like with introducing I thought he was having a stroke and the doctors, she's really trying to shift the focus to this one narrow moment, right? In this discrete instance, I thought that he was having a medical episode. That's obviously not the conversation that we're having, and that's not the questions the people are asking her. They're trying to get at, were you disclosing the fact that you had worries that your husband was unfit to serve a second term, right? That's why on Morning Joe, what's his name, said, would he have had to resign? She's subtly shifting the window. And to your point, that's not something doctors could have adjudicated, right? Doctors can tell you you're having a stroke, you're not having a stroke. Your cholesterol is high, you have Parkinson's disease, whatever. A doctor can't say. They can offer their opinion. But the issue that people have with Jill Biden is not that, she thought her husband was having a stroke and didn't intervene. It's that she was part of a cover-up and was complicit in lying and propping him up when everyone, as Emily said, with eyes could see that he wasn't. So it's very she's too good at this, man. She's not that good at it. We're all calling her out on it, but this is second nature for Jill Biden. She's just she's lying. If the lie doesn't work, adjust the lie a little bit, play the sympathy card, yada yada. It's the classic Biden playbook, but it's hard to watch.
Amber, the question I have is she's going first. Joe Biden has a book coming out himself. And I got to wonder, what does he say now? What is it that who wants to read the Joe Biden? No one ever thought that he actually was going to write it. I wonder if he's actually read what somebody wrote for him. But I do wonder, has she killed his book rollout too?
Well, he said just the other day that it's coming out in September. And Democrats are pissed because they already have to deal with the fallout from this book and people calling out the cover up once again. But now they have to deal with Joe Biden's book himself ahead of the midterm. So they have two punches coming their way from the Bidens, who I assume are just trying to make money because Joe is incapable of doing those hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of speaking fees that presidents usually do after they leave office. So they have to figure out a way to pay their mortgage. But there were a couple of interesting admissions in this book as well that kind of flew under the radar. Jill Biden writes that she actually found out about the Hamas attacks on October 7th before the president of the United States. People were calling her that morning on October 7th, asking where Joe Biden was because he needed to get on a National Security Council call. She also says that if Joe had won a second term, it wouldn't have been a big deal if he had to resign because Kamala Harris could have just taken his place and she's young. So what's the big deal, guys? Didn't you see that Kamala could have just stepped in if Joe wasn't fit to serve? And it's like, well, yeah, that's actually kind of the point as to why people were worried about Joe Biden, because they didn't want Kamala Harris to be president. And so she does this whole exercise of like pretending she's going to tell the truth about everything. But overall, the book is very sanitized. She's talking about how they're such lovely people and like how you got to feel bad for the Bidens because we were just so kind to everybody. But every now and then the mask slips and she accidentally admits something that just proves how bad the cover up was and really how terrible Joe's condition was when he was serving as president.
I feel like this is as botched of a rollout as Kristi Noem putting in there that she killed her dog. Like, I was like, who? All she had to do was not say the stroke. Say the word stroke. Say, Joe had a bad debate, he wasn't feeling well, and we wouldn't be having this conversation, right? I don't get why she added the stroke in. To me, no one read the book and said, this is going to be a problem. You're admitting that you thought the guy wasn't fit for office after gaslighting everyone on your own team. I literally, there's days in which I go, it was like, honestly, when Kristi Noem came out with her book, I thought to myself, who thought that like saying that you shot your dog wouldn't go over like a lead balloon?
Well, I think Amber really hit the nail on the head with saying, they're just doing this to make money, which, like, look, obviously all of these ghost-written political memoirs are always a little bit of a bid to make money and maintain influence. But the thing that's really shocking about this is, right, between Joe, Jill, Hunter, and Beau Biden, they've probably got a dozen memoirs between them already, right? I mean, and also, like, joking aside, right, Joe Biden, as they like to remind us, has been in politics for half a century. These are probably the most written about and covered political family, like, alive right now, right, other than the Clintons. There's absolutely no reason, and no reason for right now, given the fact that we're coming up on the midterms, given the fact that everyone's really turned on them, right? Like, there's no reason for neither Jill nor Joe Biden to have a book. The fact that both of them are doing it right now, it's really just like, what will be enough for you people? And that's why, right? She's clearly leaning into it. She's undoing, like, no one believed her, but they had buttoned it up, right? They got away with it. He got out of the White House. Everyone got a pardon. They could have just spent the rest of their days in Rehoboth, not meeting their 7th granddaughter, but like instead they do, and it has to be. She has to go back on the story because we all know the stories. We know the Promise Me Dad story. We know about Nella and the dog. We know all of it because Joe Biden has been talking and biographizing himself for 50 years. So they are so desperate for whatever it is, time in the spotlight, money, holding on to some shred of influence that they will do this to themselves just to go on one final tour. It's ridiculous. It's sad.
Hate to jump in the middle of this discussion, but I got to share a warning from Bobby Kennedy, the HHS secretary. He says it is regulatory malpractice that we are not screening for Alzheimer's. And he's absolutely right. 4 out of 5 voters say that they are more likely to support a candidate who prioritizes better access to Alzheimer's detection, diagnosis, and treatment. But the health care that we get right now is now opting for late-stage crisis care over early intervention that could slow the disease. It is so ridiculous. Right now, more than 7 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's, and that number could double by 2060. Families are tired of hearing about this. Medicare and Medicaid can't afford it. Waiting to intervene is setting us up for a massive, massive healthcare crisis. Early detection changes everything. We have the tools like simple blood tests that can identify the risk years before the symptoms fully hit, giving patients time to plan and interventions that will allow them to stay independent. 85% of Republicans support expanded Medicare coverage for tests and treatments. The tools are here now. The policymakers just need to implement them. Join the fight at marketinstitute.org. That's marketinstitute.org. Now back to the discussion. I want to just switch gears for a second. The president said that Bill Pulte would be serving as the acting DNI. And just again, I've said this to the audience, but I want to be clear. There's a big difference between being acting DNI and being nominated for the job. He hasn't been nominated, he's acting. But this is how John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, reacted. Take a look.
Do you think that Bill Pulte has the experience to be the acting DNI, and same with you, Senator Cotton, as the chairman of the Intelligence Committee? Is he the kind of person you want leading the Intelligence Committee?
I'll defer to the chairman on that. We were just made aware of that appointment this morning. Obviously, it's something that if the administration decides to pursue a permanent appointment to that position, have to come through the Congress and have confirmation hearings and ultimately a vote here in the Senate. But Senator Cotton, you want to speak to that?
We have 4 more weeks with Director Gabbard as the DNI, and I look forward to implementing last year's Intelligence Authorization Act with her to implement wide-ranging reforms that will shrink the DNI.
All right, I break out of this because here's the point. These guys have been very lukewarm at best on this Pulte thing. I've never seen the Senate. I do wonder, is this a sign that John Thune is going to hang it up, right? My point is, he's been saying that Pulte's not qualified, basically. I get the sense that Thune has seen the Mitch McConnell movie, the John Boehner movie, the Paul Ryan movie, and the Kevin McCarthy movie, and says, you know what? After the midterms, I wouldn't be surprised if John Thune says, I'm not running for re-election.
That's an interesting point, Sean, and I hadn't thought of it. I do think I get the sense, based on the public comments he's made recently, that he's kind of given up almost. He is very, seems like he's trying to not make any waves and be very vague in the answers that he gives to the media. And my guess is he's probably getting a lot of backlash from the conference about Pulte, so he doesn't want to commit to anything one way or the other. I mean, realistically, I think the president also knows that he wouldn't be able to get Senate confirmation, but he gets 240 days plus as acting. So he doesn't even really have to do that. But the snag here is that the Senate Democrats have now said that they're not going to reauthorize FISA so long as Pulte is in the DNI job, acting or otherwise. And so Trump's going to have to decide, okay, is it worth having Pulte in as acting DNI if I don't get the FISA reauthorization? And I don't know the answer to that question.
Emily, can I ask you a question? You know, you do a lot of work on campuses and on young people. Do young people, are they fired up about FISA reform? And I mean that seriously, that there's a lot of younger conservatives that really have a problem with this surveillance that the government does. And I get the sense that it's younger, folks in particular who don't like it.
Honestly, I think most young people right now, the thing at the top of their mind when they think about politics, look, they're in their classes on campus, but they're focused on the economy. They're focused on how much they're paying at the pump. Those are the things that affect them in their everyday lives. I don't think as many college students as we would like to are too focused on what's going on in the news, because they're sitting in classrooms. They're so focused on their classes. But I want to say the future of Republican leadership, I think, is honestly going to be the question of who can continue the momentum of the America First Trump agenda, because, well, the American people, they put forth this mandate and said, we want strong borders, we want a strong economy, we want our streets safe. And the president delivered that. The president is continuing to deliver that. And I think what he's really changed here, the direction of this party, is now any Republican leadership, whether it's in the Senate or, the future presidents, whatever, is going to be judged based on results. I think the American people are demanding results. And I think that the future Republican leadership, the American people are going to expect results, not just somebody who can look good on TV and deliver good speeches.
Yeah. And if I can jump in here, Sean, I think one of the, tying this back to the young people and Bill Pulte, I think one of the issues is that young people who are watching the news, when they hear someone say the answer to the housing affordability crisis is to create a 50-year mortgage, that doesn't sit well with them. And so I think that actually the Democratic opposition and even the Republican establishment opposition to Bill Pulte can sometimes distract from the fact that people in the America First movement have an issue with some of the ideas that he's come up with in the FHA.
Interesting. I want to shift because there was Graham Platner, the Democratic candidate from Maine, came to Washington this week. And he had this sentence that he gave when he was presented or confronted by Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren in this private meeting and asked about if there were more allegations. I don't know if you guys picked this up. This was so fascinating to see. He said there are no credible allegations of sexual assault. Oh, so there's allegations, they just might not be credible. But Tim Rice, you guys at the Daily Wire had this really interesting scoop about an app that I again, maybe I'm just showing my age. I don't even know that this, what is the app and what does it do and what does he have on it?
Yeah, no, Sean, it's good. It's to your credit that you did not know what this app was, because I now know way too much about it, but it's called,
okay, so what is it?
Yeah, it's called Kick. It advertises itself as an anonymous chatting app, but it is widely known as the National Center on Sexual Exploitation called it a predator's paradise. It is basically an app where people go to have clandestine affairs and prey on children. There are a number of features that allow this to happen. One is it's fully anonymous. Two, the app itself does not store and cannot access its own messages. Three, until recently, the age limit was you had to be 13 or older.
What?
They recently raised it in the terms and conditions to 18, but they use no actual age verification service. So
it's not wait, just so I'm clear, it's not a dating app though, right? It's not like a Tinder or whatever.
Like, it's people use it for that mostly, but no, it's like, think of it like a chat room. Like an app that's basically an AOL chat room. Like, you can connect with people, but you can also go on and join rooms or watch. But
is it just typing?
There's video. There's video too. It hosts live streams that you can join. Many of them are, believe it or not, sexually explicit. So this is not really like, and Platner joined after all of this was known. The New York Times in 2016 had a huge expose. But I mean, there were really people sharing child pornography, facilitating kidnappings and murders and rapes, like some of which were foiled, some of which unfortunately were not. Graham Platner joined the app 5 months after that expose. So there's no plausible deniability, but also it's just the sort of thing where he was 31 at the time. This is not an app that and this is not really an app that anyone's on for good purposes, but certainly not like a 31-year-old veteran.
Can I ask Emily? I want to make sure that is this an app that, like, to your point, like, is it known, or is this like, unless you're a predator, you don't know about this?
It seems to be well known among the predator community. I mean, does this need to be taken off the App Store? This is discussing that this is even happening. But I want to point out that Graham Platner continues to, he's further evidence that the only standards the Democratic Party has are double standards. I mean, this is the party that has pointed their fingers at Republicans and President Trump and called them Nazis for a decade. And then this party all of a sudden is throwing their weight behind this guy who had a Nazi tattoo. And then at the same time, this is also the party that vows to champion women and says, believe all women. And this candidate blames women for being raped, saying women shouldn't get drunk, and then all these alleged cheating scandals, and all of his scandals altogether. He has a gross track record. It's not like one or two things. It's a lot of them, and it's proof of long-term bad decision-making and zero impulse control, which you don't want in an elected official. And I think that tattoo is the perfect symbol here, because a tattoo is permanent. This man has permanent character flaws. He can apologize. He can say he's changed, whatever. You can try to remove a tattoo. There's always going to be a scar. This man has shown us who he is.
And I think I would just, if I could just add, Sean, it also shows really what the Democratic Party is these days, right? I mean, listen, I'm obviously no fan of the Democrat Party, but the unwavering support, the failure of anyone the fact that they went all in on this guy when they also had Janet Mills on the ballot. I mean, anti-Semitism, not disqualifying in the Democratic Party. Mocking the troops, not disqualifying in the Democratic Party. Being a sexual deviant of some kind, whether it's just adult infidelity or something way worse, not disqualifying in the Democratic Party. Like, this is a real kind of show me your friends and I'll, show you your vices or what. Like, it's as revealing of the party establishment as it is about Graham Platner.
I mean, to Emily's point, it's not one thing, and you're saying, oh, well, he got a tattoo. It's the tattoo, the sexual assault, the attacks on veterans, the attacks, on women. Over and over. This is Bernie Sanders, though. This is the response to what you guys are saying. This is how Bernie Sanders, who is, by the way, Jewish, responds to this.
Graham Platner was on Capitol Hill today meeting with Senate Democrats. He's obviously been facing some questions about reports that have come out about messages he sent to women, sexually explicit messages, according to the Journal and the New York Times. You are standing by him despite that. Why?
Well, I find it interesting. The Republican super PACs have already purchased, as I understand it, $99 million in TV ads against this guy, Graham Platner. In a small state, that is an astronomical sum of money, and more money is going to come in. So why do they want to beat Graham Platner? Because they understand that control over the Senate may, in fact, revolve about who wins in Maine. And they want to beat him in the worst possible way. And I think what the people of this country want are senators now who are going to focus on the needs of working class people who are tired of a corrupt political system in which billionaires buy elections.
All right, Amber Duke, can I just say this? Hold on, I got to do it. Ready? Oh, I had it at the tip of my tongue. Graham Platner is not a bad guy. I can't understand this. Bernie Sanders is Jewish, and his answer when confronted with, he's got a Nazi tattoo, he tells women that they deserve their own sexual assault. He has offended Purple Heart recipients who fought for this country. He's got sexually explicit messages. He basically saying, yeah, there's probably some allegations, just not credible ones, of me sexually assaulting. And yet Bernie Sanders is, well, the Republicans are going to spend money to defend Susan Collins, the incumbent.
Susan Collins is the most moderate centrist member of
that's
the
the one that should be like,
Party.
Right.
Right? Like, this is the one you should be least upset about potentially winning re-election. Maine's a crazy state. I think anything can happen. Obviously, Graham Platner has a horrific history. There's going to be more coming out. I'm getting calls like every other day telling me some other stories dropping about Graham Platner. It's only going to get worse. He obviously recognizes this because he's been canceling a bunch of media interviews and tucking tail and heading home. So it's clear that the other shoe is about to drop. We just don't know specifically what it is at this point. But again, Maine is crazy. It's a very weird state. The polling's not great there. They've never had great pollsters in Maine because of the ranked choice voting system. Susan Collins outperformed by like 7 or 8 points in her previous 2 re-election campaigns. But Graham Platner is also raising a ton of money despite all of these scandals. And so this is really concerning. And there's about, I think, 10 days left before the time period for him to potentially drop out of the race happens. And so I actually think Republicans are probably looking at this and like, man, we hope he stays in because Janet Mills. Because
I was going to get to this. Because I predicted this on the huddle this morning. I'm telling you, Janet Mills made it very clear. Hey, I just suspended my campaign. I'm still sitting here. Call me.
Yeah.
Right.
But she has no money, so she has to have Platner drop out. She can't go toe-to-toe.
Okay, real quick, I want to get to this, to one more thing before we get to winners and losers. I will say this right now, and then I want your take. I believe that Janet Mills will ultimately be the Democratic nominee in Maine. Emily Sturge, yes or no?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be Platner, and I think that's going to work really well for Susan Collins.
Tim Rice.
I'm sorry, I'm a no too. I think that they're deep in the bag for this guy. I think they're bringing him to the finish line.
Amber Duke.
Sorry, I'm also no. They want his money.
Can I just
look? And he has no incentive to drop out, right? He's gone through all of this craziness so far. His wife is standing by him doing hostage videos. He has nothing left if he doesn't win this nomination. I think he's gonna plow through.
Okay. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I'm dead serious when I say I hope I'm wrong. Okay, I'm going to get to winners and losers early because I'm going to make my winner the last topic that I wanted to get to. But in the interest of time, I'm going to do this. So I never go first but I'm going to go first because I want to show you these hearings that these Republican. Normally, I love watching cabinet members go on CBS, their Sunday show with Margaret Brennan, just to just destroy her. But this week it was Democrats' turn on the Capitol Hill. First up, I want to play you Marco Rubio talking to Democratic Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs in California, and this is Marco just going after her and her attempt to attack him. Look.
Last question for you. Mr. Secretary, who won the 2020 presidential election?
I'm not here to answer a question. We're talking about 2020. This is a Foreign Affairs Committee.
Okay, great. You can't answer the question, even though we all know that President Biden won. I don't answer the question because as Secretary of State, I do not participate in domestic political issues. This is not about domestic political issues. This is about our democracy.
You're asking me to opine, just like I don't do campaign rallies.
It seems like
I don't do because as Secretary of State, we're not supposed to. That's been the long tradition of the department, and you should know that if you've been on this committee for any period of time.
Mr. Secretary, it seems like you have an issue admitting facts. You can't say that the president lost the 2020 election, just like you won't admit President Trump is losing this reckless war of choice, and just like you couldn't admit that the shoes the president bought you were too big. You clearly don't know what winning means, and not because the facts are unclear to you, it's because telling the truth would cost you your job, and the American people are entitled to a Secretary of State who tells them the truth even when the president doesn't want to hear it, and my constituents, our service members, deserve better. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
I don't know what shoes she's talking about. What is she talking about?
Representative Burchett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you'd like to answer any of that.
Yeah, I don't know about the shoes. I mean, he gave me some Florsheim shoes. They're actually pretty good. They fit fine. I don't know what she's talking about. And maybe that's what she's referring to.
Your shoes look very nice today, Mr. Secretary.
Well, how can you see them? They're way down here. We're talking about shoes. Are you guys kidding me? I mean, is this the Foreign Affairs Committee or is this like a circus? What is this?
I think it's a circus, but I appreciate it.
All right, I will say this real quick. I just want to show you my second runner-up here. This was Scott Bassett going after Ron Wyden in the Senate. Take a look.
Let's be clear here. Nobody is interested in the ramblings of a capo in the most corrupt regime in American history. We want to get some facts about this deal. That's what we're here for. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I will ask my questions first today.
And we would like to hear what Adam Wyden and Jeffrey Epstein talked about. Your son's largest investment position was Rick's Cabaret. So did your son and Jeffrey Epstein talk about pole dancing as he begged him for money using your limited credibility?
Should I just proceed? I'm going to proceed with my questions, and
by the way, I did look this one up, Tim. Rick's Cabaret is a gentleman's club. Apparently, Senator Wyden's son used Jeffrey Epstein's money to invest in that. So my winner of the week is Trump cabinet members on Capitol Hill. Emily Sturge, who's your winner?
Marco Rubio. And I'm a little bit biased. I'm from Miami. He's our hometown hero. He's one of the toughest fighters that we're seeing here. And I love that he's so serious and he's so calm under pressure, but also he's got energy, personality, authenticity, humor. That's what the American people love.
Tim Rice, who do you think won the week?
Barry Weiss. It's been a rocky start for her. And, as it was going to be, she had a very hard job, big task in front of her. There've been some missteps. There've been some negative press. She handled the Scott Pelley, the new EP, and the Pelley firing, professionally and with grace. And Scott Pelley has just handed her the biggest PR win of her time at the helm of CBS News. He's so unlikable. He's such a child. Even anyone other than the most extreme lefties are leaving this week with a little bit of sympathy and a little bit more respect for Barry and her team at CBS, all courtesy of Scott Pelley.
That's why I asked a CNN question, because I have a feeling that if you're Brian Stelter or Jake Tapper or Wolf Blitzer, you better be very careful, because I'm watching this stuff happen going, you're next, guys. Amber Duke, who do you think won the week?
I'm going to go with Todd Blanche, because he was, of course, picked to be acting attorney general. He just got the nod from Trump to go through the confirmation process to make that permanent. He gets into the post after a lot of turmoil under Pam Bondi, and he immediately announces a bunch of investigations from the Civil Rights Division into progressive prosecutors. There was the superseding indictment against the SPLC this week that found that they were paying people to actually buy materials for Klan hoods and cross burnings.
Make up racism.
Now, Yes, the one thing that I think could really seal the deal for him is to bring back this anti-weaponization fund, but he clearly
real
has
quick,
been.
before we get to losers, to Amber's point, Amber, yes or no, does he get confirmed by the Senate?
Yes.
Emily Sturge, does he get confirmed by the Senate?
I think so.
Tim Rice?
No.
Ooh.
I'm telling you, I think this is going to be tight. He may get it. If he gets it, it's going to be 50-50. All right, real quick, let's do losers. Emily Sturge, who lost the week?
All of what we used to see in past years of all the Pride corporate America partnerships. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, you used to walk into Target and it was these big rainbow displays for Pride Month. Now it's red, white, and blue displays. It's really remarkable to see.
It is amazing. We had I was going to get to that. I'll use it on my radio show this weekend, but long list of companies that have slowly backed away, which, anyway. Tim Rice, who do you think lost the week?
All of the 90s artists who bailed on the Freedom 250 concert on the National Mall. I have a long piece up about this at the Daily Wire if anyone's interested in reading. It's disgraceful. It's embarrassing. It's America's block party. It's the 4th of July. Like, come on, guys. It's, you're not booking big venues, Milli Vanilli.
Look, just so everyone knows.
It's just Millie now, right?
There's only one of them live. It's, I think, either Millie or Vanilli. And I think I told you guys before the show, I was part of a class action lawsuit because I did go to the concert in 1992, 93. And I was just shocked that they were making it up. I can't believe it. I think the bigger embarrassment is that, and either one of them, whoever alive, got booked. They're a phony act. I will never forgive them for deceiving me that Millie and Vanilli. I'm not going to blame it on the rain, and if you have to know what that means. Anyway, Amber Duke, who lost the week?
All right, I've got a tie between Nithya Raman, who was weeping on stage after failing to advance to the runoff with Spencer Pratt and Karen Bass, and then John Bolton, who just this morning we found out pleaded guilty to mishandling classified documents.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, breaking news.
Holy smokes. All right, that may I was going to give mine to Joe Biden for his whole thing. I think what a horror. I mean, Jill has crushed his book rollout now. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for being here. This is great, and some breaking news at the end. I didn't even get to ask you who I think wins the cage match between Bill Pulte and Scott Bassett. Maybe we'll get to that next week. Thanks for being here. We got a great show coming your way tomorrow. Tom Emmer, the Majority Whip, and Dave Rubin will both be here. Have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow on the Sean Spicer Show. Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.